Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, all right. So the title of the talk today is the India's transboundary water diplomacy, the challenges and opportunities in the neighboring state. So it's a very interesting one. But before I get into the whole discussion on this topic, I would want all of you, to understand few of the things which are very much important in this water diplomacy. So first of all, that is upper riparian. So we need to understand these terminologies, because without them you will not able to understand, because I'm going to use them frequently in my PPT. So firstly, I've that is why I've highlighted all of these terminologies with some kind of example, so that you also have some better understanding. And in the later on also, when you try to read some of the text, or if you hear it from someone, you can easily able to understand what is the correct terminology of the words. So first one is the upper riparian. So it refers to a country, or a country or a region where it is located. It is located on the upstream, that is on the upside of the part of a river, which is closer to its source, from the point from where the river is originating at the upper location. So I've given an example also, like for in a case of China. China is a upper riparian country, riparian for the Brahmaputra river, from where it originates. Okay. And similarly in the middle riparian. So what are middle riparian? So it is again refers to a region or a country which is located between the upper and the lower. So it is between the middle of upper, mid, and the lower. It is in the middle part of a river. So example here is that India is also considered to be a middle riparian for the Brahmaputra river, which we just mentioned about in the upper riparian, and it is between the upper riparian and the lower riparian, which is the Bangladesh country, which comes under the lower part of India. So it is in between. So India is considered to be a middle riparian country. So and the third one which we have is the lower riparian country. So it is again, which is not above, not in the middle, but it is on the lower side of the river. So lower part of the river. So Bangladesh again is a good example of it, where it is a lower riparian country to India and even to the China also. So what is transboundary also? Because most of the time people tend to confuse it with lot many terminologies. So it is basically we can consider it as a river, or it can be considered as a lake, or any kind of a water body that crosses from one border of two countries or more than that. Because in the water terminologies, there are no boundaries for water. So water can cross from any between two countries, three countries, four countries. So we can stop it because it is recognized by all of us. So when it passes from one part to the another part to third part, so it crosses from one part to another. So that is considered to be a transboundary. Like for example, I have highlighted here the Ganges is a transboundary river which has been shared by India also, Bangladesh also, and finally it submerges to the Bay of Bengal, ocean. And now, what is river basin? So it is also very important terminology, because I'm going to use it and you should also know it. The basic meaning of what is river basin, because there is one river and another one is the river basin. So the entire area of land where the drainage of water, rivers and its tributaries are coming, and from those tributaries the rivers are getting it's connecting as a water source to all the main rivers. So it can be considered as a river basin, a small or a large part of a land where all the rivers are being drained, and its tributaries are taking a water source to different countries. So it can be considered as a river basin. So I've also given example, the Ganges river basin, which also it has lot many tributaries and sub tributaries, but it becomes a source of water source to the countries. Like India is one of them, then it goes to the Nepal also in terms of its tributary, then in the Ganga also, Bangladesh also, where we have a treaty with India, Bangladesh also. Then the second last is the catchment area. So it is basically a small area of land where a water is collected into a specific drain. It can come from a rainfall, or it can come from in terms of drains, in a very specific river, stream or reservoir. Okay. So again, and the last one is a dam. So a dam is basically a barrier which is built across a river. It can be built on a river or a stream just to hold the water, or it can be considered where water can be stored, or with the help of it, which we want to generate the electricity and to control the flood. So basic, the fundamental of dam is, just to hold the water, create the electricity and the control the flood. So in a basic nutshell language and the easy way we can understand these terminologies, I hope you have understood some kind of a, some meaning of it, and in a very simplest way. But if not, we can try and discuss in the later part also. So in this specific, the topic, I've divided my whole presentation in these 7 parts, which I'm going to talk the basic introduction, why India's transboundary, rivers issues are important for India and for our neighboring states, and what are the geographical contexts, where I'm going to highlight the simplest, the meaning, where what are the specifications or the characteristics of these, the rivers or the water agreements. And in the third part, what are the key agreements India has signed with the different neighboring countries, or the agreements? What are the challenges the transboundary water diplomacy has right now? What are the opportunities which have? What are the, how India is tackling it? What are the challenges India is currently having, or what are the India's initiative right now we are having? And lastly, the future prospects of the recommendation, and going with the idea of conclusion. So let me start with the introduction, where I just want to highlight that what is the transboundary water diplomacy. It's just a kind of a very brief overview which I want to give. So it becomes very important and integral part of our life, because water is everywhere. We cannot skip water we cannot skip water, because it's a daily routine. It's a daily, it is used in our daily life, right? And it becomes very important when we are talking about diplomacy, because this term is often used in the subject of international relations. So like I deal with the subject of international relations, so I will be telling you how the transboundary water diplomacy works and what are the key challenges, which we deal in dealing up the water diplomacy, and how it is emerging day by day. So it is often referred as a negotiation, or in terms of agreements between one or two nations that shares the freshwater resources across the border. Because I just mentioned what is transboundary. So in terms of when we want to share the freshwater resources from one part to another country, it is often done in the form of negotiation or in terms of agreement. So it can be considered as a water diplomacy we are doing. And it doesn't mean that we just want to share the water. The water which we are sharing from one country to another, it also needs to be equal. It should not be that the one country is taking large amount of water and the another country is taking small amount of water. It should be equal amount of water, and that water needs to be sustainable, that it can be used by all. It should not be look like that, rich people who are based in country, they are using more water, and poor are not able to use it. So in that sense also, it should be very much equally divided, and the sustainable management of water needs to be there, that it should be not wasted much. It should be utilized more and more for the utilization of people, for the industries, for the urbanization. So all of these issues which are considered into the sharing of water and utilizing in a very better way. And also, it should not create any kind of a conflict. It should always considered to be a tool for creating a peace in the country, between the countries. It should not create any kind of a problem. But we often see that water also leads to the kind of a conflicts which are also present in which is also there in between a lot of countries, which we are also going to discuss in the further PPT. So what is the importance of water sharing in South Asia? Because see, in South Asia, we are having right now the 8 countries. Okay, and India is one of a country. So, and in South Asia, it is a home of major river system. For example, I have also listed here Indus is there, Ganges is there, Brahmaputra. So these are the main 3 rivers which are in major river system which is there in the South Asia, and they also flows from one country to another country. Okay, and as the water is very much critical source, so these river system are often used for the agricultural needs, for the energy needs through which the electricity is generating, and for the livelihood where the basic necessities of livelihood are completed. And often we have seen that right now the population growth is happening at a very rapid scale, and with the advent of climate change which is coming in this contemporary era, so we have seen that the increase of water is getting more, but the demand is getting more, but the increase, the flow of water is getting less. Why it is happening? Because of all of these issues which are just highlighted, the because the population growth is happening, because of the climate change, lot many times the precipitation is also precipitation level, the groundwater utilization, it's getting deteriorated. So with that kind of a thing, the demand and supply are not able to balance its way. So sometimes we have a lot many demand, but the supply is less. Sometimes, like in previously when the things were very much right and the climate change was not a talk of the town, so in that point of a time, the supply was more but demand was very less, because we were not very much urbanized also, and industrialization was also taking at a very slow pace. So all of these factors are also very important when we talk about the importance of water sharing in South Asia. So before I now move ahead, I would want you to have a look at this map very much clearly, because it is a very clear map which shows a lot of things. So, like for example, you can see my the cursor. You can see this plateau, Tibetan plateau. So this is the main Tibetan plateau, which is a origin, which is basically a main source of rivers across all the South Asia and in the Southeast Asia also. For example, you can see, because now I'll tell you why it is important also, because this Tibetan plateau, this is basically based at a location of a high altitude of approximately 4,000 to 5,000, above sea level. So, and this Tibetan plateau has some specific, specifications. For example, this is very much good in, a lot of mineral resources, and this is basically a Himalayan region which has lot of lot many glaciers which are which becomes a source of rivers, origination of the rivers. So like for example, in you can also see here the Mount Kailash. So here Mount Kailash, lot of glaciers are here, and from here lot of rivers are taking originates are originating, and it is becoming a source of all the rivers. So all the major rivers, for example, like the Yarlang Sangpo is there, Indus river system is there, the Ganges is there, it is coming from here. And in the China also, the Yellow River is there, Yangtze River is there, and in the Southeast Asia also you can see this Mekong River is also going towards Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Cambodia. And then this Salwan, Irrawaddy, Brahmaputra when it comes down to from the state of Arunachal Pradesh. So you can see that how much this Tibetan plateau is very much influential, and it's very important in the current geopolitical situation, because because without it, we cannot have a source of any kind of a river. So all the major rivers, whereas in India also, in South Asia, or whereas in Southeast Asia also, so it is the main source of origination of these rivers. So now, what is the India's role in this regional water diplomacy? Because as we want to highlight the what is the India's transboundary river challenges, and so that is why we are going to highlight what are the India's the shares, how much India shares water with the different countries, how much they have the water treaties with the different countries. So in terms of that, India shares water resources with the Pakistan, with its neighboring.
I think sir is facing some issues. Uh, we request the participants to wait.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Okay,
audible.
okay. I'm sorry. I think I lost the connection in between,
Yes,
but
sir, it's okay.
let me join back again once again. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Just let me know if it is not visible because not able to have shared my full screen, so I won't be able to know. So so similarly in India's role also, it becomes very much important because India is currently the South Asian regional power, and it wants to highlight its major role in the whole world, in the whole South Asia or the Asian continent also. So it becomes very important that how India is sharing these water sharing agreements with all the South Asian countries, and it acts like as a key stakeholder in fostering the sustainable and cooperative management between all the transboundary water system between the South Asian countries, particularly the Pakistan, the Bangladesh is there, the Nepal is there, and Bhutan is there. So this is the key statistics which I have highlighted in a form of a table, which will give you some idea that how much India's transboundary river are being, has been, we are sharing it currently with the all the countries. For example, with Bangladesh, we are currently sharing 54 rivers. Okay. And these are the major rivers, like for example, Ganga is there, Brahmaputra is there, Tista is there, and Meghna is there. And this is a key water sharing agreement which we have signed with the Brahmaputra, with the Bangladesh. That is the Ganges Water Sharing Treaty in 1996. Similarly, with Pakistan also, we are sharing right now six rivers. So it is basically a Indus river basin we are talking, and it contains six rivers. So these are the rivers. So don't confuse it with the river basin, because I've just highlighted in the beginning also what is the difference in the river basin and what is the difference in the rivers. So these are the rivers, simply rivers. So with the Pakistan also, we are sharing six rivers, like Indus is there, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, and Satluj. And we have signed a Indus water treaty with them in 1960. Similarly, with Nepal also, we share three major rivers, that is the Mahakali, Gandak, and Kosi river. And we have also shared the water agreements with Nepal in terms of Kosi and Gandak agreements. And we have done a one Mahakali treaty with in 1996 again with the Nepal. So in Bhutan also we share four rivers. Although Bhutan is an upper riparian country to to India, and we share these four rivers. And basically we are using these four rivers in terms of generating the hydroelectricity. So nothing conflict in nature with the Bhutan, because we share a very cordial relation with the Bhutan here. So these are the four rivers like Manas, Sankos, Torsa, and Jalkata. These are the four rivers which we share it with Bhutan. And with China we share these five rivers. So they can also they are also a part of some of the river basin. But yeah, these are the five rivers: Brahmaputra, which is also known as the Yarlang Sangpo in China, but Brahmaputra in Assam, and Jamuna in Bangladesh. And Indus is one of the the river which we are sharing it with China. Satluj is one of them, and Satluj is again a tributary of Indus river basin only. Suhasini and Siang is also again a tributaries of Brahmaputra. Okay. And currently we do not have any kind of a treaty or agreement with China, unfortunately. But we are also having a very large concern over dams with China when we talk about, because China is trying to divert the water, which we'll talk in the course time when we move ahead. So I hope you've got some idea and some glimpse that how much the big network of rivers which we are right now having with our transboundary neighboring states. So now, look at the map, because I have just highlighted in the beginning also about the Tibet. So in this also, this whole region is the Tibet. this is the Indus River basin is getting originated. This is Ganges River, which is coming again from the Tibet. And this white line, this is Yarlang Sangpo, which is also the Brahmaputra. And from this U-shaped bend, which is basically a turning point where, Yarlang Sampo gets his change of nature into the Indian territory of Arunachal Pradesh, and from this Arunachal Pradesh to this point, Assam, where it gets its name as a Brahmaputra. But in Arunachal Pradesh, we often call it as a Siang River. This Brahmaputra, Siang or Dihang also we call it. So, okay. And in Assam, this is Brahmaputra, and finally in this is the Bangladesh, and it finally submerges into the Bay of Bengal. Similarly, for the Southeast Asian countries also, you can see that how much this green line, this is a Mekong River, which also gives a, which is also a lifeline of all the Southeast Asian countries. And they have also formed a Mekong River Commission in 1995, which is very much beneficial for them. And this becomes a very good case study for all the countries which are not having currently the river commission, or they have not formed a formal water treaty. This is again the Yangtze River, which is going towards China. And this is China's biggest river, Yellow River, which is again going to the northern part of China. So this is the second map, which is about the Ganges and the Brahmaputra. So you can see how much the Ganga river system works, which we often call it a Ganges river system. Look at the Ganges River. It's coming from here. It is becoming a part of lot many Indian states. You can see Agra, Uttar Pradesh, Kanpur, Allahabad. It's again a part of UP only. Then it is going towards Bihar, Patna, and then this is a contestant point, which we will talk about later on in our slide. And similarly with the Brahmaputra also, which is coming from here, Lhasa. This is a capital of Tibet, but it's coming from this part, glacier, Angsai glacier is there, so it becomes a source of it. And this U-turn is there. Then these are the small lines which are the tributaries of Brahmaputra. And this Ganges and Brahmaputra are connecting together. They're going towards Bangladesh and finally into the Bay of Bengal. So this gives you a very good idea that how much the rivers, its tributaries, its sub-tributaries becomes a very important and integral part of all the countries, because they do not share any kind of a boundaries in form of visible boundaries. We cannot stop rivers. Okay, so that is how it becomes very much important and very much influential when we are sharing the waters with each other country. So now let me just talk about the geographical context. In this geographical context, I am just going to talk about the few characteristics of this river system. And then in the later slides, I will talk about the current challenges which we are having with these rivers, so that slide by slide you have some idea that you don't get confused and you have a very simplest way of understanding. So similarly in this, we are going to talk about the Indus River system. So Indus River system is again a river which is shared with Pakistan only. Okay, and it includes the river Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Bias, and Satluj, and it has a source of from the Tibet only. So Mansarovar Lake or the glacier is there from where it gets originated. Its approximately length is it's been given in the internet also, but it's slightly different from one place to the another source of things. So approximately we can consider it as a 3,180 kilometer of length, and this is considered to be a very resilient river, because it gives a lot of good opportunities to the people who are based in Jammu and Kashmir, also in the Punjab and Himachal also, but similarly on the Pakistan side also. But on the same hand, it is also considered to be a side of a conflictive nature, okay, which we will talk in the Indus Water Treaty, that what exactly the issue which is happening with the Pakistan and India, and how much this river is right now, the basin is crucial for us. And as it is going through from one country to another, so it becomes a very important part for our irrigation also, because lot many hectares of agricultural land in Pakistan and in the northern India of Jammu and Kashmir, it's been a source of vital irrigation for which is coming from this Indus River system. and it supports lot many hydroelectricity projects in Jammu and Kashmir also currently, which are also into some kind of a conflict. But in Pakistan also, they have built small dams, which is again giving them an opportunity to extract electricity from these rivers. And it is again provides a very fresh water because it is coming from the glacier, Mansarovar glacier, and it becomes an important part for drinking purpose, irrigation, and the fishing also. Because large number of fishing activities is also taking place with the Indus river system. So this is a map of Indus river system. You can see this is the Tibetan region. So it's getting originated from here, and this is going towards side to Pakistan, and you can see the other, the rivers. Indus river system has rivers: Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, and your Bias. So these are some of the rivers of it, and that is how we just share it with the Pakistan only. And it has also the sub tributaries, but we will just mention and talk about the main rivers, which are also the important part of this Indus river system. Okay, so now let's move on to the Ganges river system. So it is again a source of the source which is coming from Gangotri glacier, which is based in the Uttarakhand part of northern India, and it flows through Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal before entering into Bangladesh, which we just previously discussed in the slides. So it has also very famous tributaries, which you might have heard in the name of Yamuna River, Ghagra River, Gandak River, which we share it with Nepal, Kosi River, which we again share it with Nepal, Tista River, which is again we share it with Bangladesh. Okay, so these are some of the main tributaries of Ganga rivers, and some of them are left bank tributaries, some of them are right bank tributaries. And Ganga river is also considered to be a very symbolizing of purity, because we often connect our religion with the Ganga river. Because right now also where the Mahakumbh is happening in Prayagraj, Allahabad, in that also you can see many people are taking dip into the water. So that is how it becomes a very factor of religion, and people believe in Hinduism, and they try to look it as a very purity symbol. And it is just not about that, it is also supporting many states with its agriculture also, and it is also considered to be the world's most fertile region, because wherever the river Ganga is going or flowing, it also becomes it makes the land of that region very fertile, so that you can grow more and more agriculture, and irrigation can takes at a very good pace. Okay, and we have seen many hybrid kind of a seeds also, where agriculture and the farmers are producing it with the help of Ganga river system. Okay, although it's one of a very big challenge, it's been polluted, but that's again a kind of a controversial thing, which we will talk later in the Q&A also, if you have any kind of a question. So and it is also again a very supportive to the flora and fauna, to the people who are residing over there, and that is how it becomes important. So this is again a very good map, which I find it found it like on the online, and which this is a Gangotri glacier, and from here the river Ganga is originating, this blue line, and these sky blue line are its tributaries. Okay, so you can see these upper 2 or 3 tributaries are going towards Nepal, and these one are going towards Bangladesh, and these are also down one are going towards the Indian side only, and these are the main tributaries. So you can see that how much the big the landmark which we are having it in terms of river, and we are very lucky that in India specifically, all the major rivers, like 3-4 major rivers are flowing in our country. So because as we are the world's largest population, it becomes very important. If we'll not have much of the rivers flowing into our territory, so our people will face problem, right? So in terms of that also, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus river are becoming a very useful source for our own livelihood, and for our own agricultural also, through which we are also dependent upon. So the next river system is the Brahmaputra river system, which is also one of our largest river system in the world, and it is again coming from the Tibet, and it flows into from the Tibet to India, and then finally the Bangladesh. And I've just mentioned about that it is called as Yarlang Sangpo or Yarlang Zangbo in Tibet, and it's called as the Siang or Dhyang in Arunachal. And the moment it comes down more down towards in the Assam side, it is called as Brahmaputra and Jamuna in Bangladesh. And it is originates from Angsi Glacier, which is near the Mount Kailash in Tibet, and finally submerges into the Bay of Bengal. Its total length considered to be a 2,900 kilometers, and its main tributaries are Suhasini, Manas, Dibang, Lohit, and Tista, which I've just mentioned. And it is one of a very supportive agricultural land, river which support the agriculture in Assam, particularly the fertile plains, and where people are able to grow and cultivate lot many, rice or the lot many, they are able to cultivate lot many agricultural activities, they are able to do it on this land. So that is how it becomes important. So this is a Brahmaputra river system map, and this Sihang, Dihang, Lohi, these are the tributaries. This black colored line is basically a Brahmaputra river system, and it is going towards this down towards line is Assam, and then it's going towards the Bangladesh. This is the Tista river, Sankosh, Mana. These all are the small tributaries of Brahmaputra river, which originates in northeastern states of India. So what are the three treaties and agreements which India has signed? I've just mentioned about these two, and the third one, that is the China, which I'm going to talk about in detail in the further slides. But in the nutshell, I'm going to talk about only two river system here. That is, first one is Indus Water Treaty, that was signed in 1960 between India and Pakistan, and it was mediated by one neutral party, that is the World Bank, and it is in which the rivers are divided. I'm going to talk about. And the second one is the Ganga Water Sharing Treaty, which is signed again in 1996, which is again a bilateral treaty between India and Bangladesh, ensuring that we share the equal amount of water between two countries. And the third one is the China factor. So with China, we haven't signed any kind of a treaty or an agreement, but in terms of soft laws, we have signed the MOUs with them, which works as a cooperative framework to facilitate that we share the data with each other in terms of flood-like situation in India, because India is a lower riparian to China in that state. So we have shared the MOUs so that we get a real-time data from China, and Brahmaputra is a main river, and we often also have a conflict with China in terms of dam-like situation, because in the upper riparian region, China always tries to construct many dams, and we will talk about that in detail. So this is a Indus Water Treaty. So in Indus Water Treaty, there are western rivers, there are eastern rivers. So in the western rivers like Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab, they are completely given their right to the Pakistan, and Ravi, Bias, and Satluj, they are again the eastern flowing rivers are the part of India. So let's look at the advantages of Indus Water Treaty and the disadvantages of this Indus Water Treaty. So basically, this was signed in 1960, as I just mentioned, but it has some kind of advantages, because often people criticize Indus Water Treaty in terms that why we are sharing water with Pakistan, why not with India? Because the very interesting talk about very interesting fact about this Indus Water Treaty is that all these 6 rivers are there, but 80% of the rivers or the kind of a hold, it's been given to Pakistan, and the 20% of its hold, it's only remained with India. So that becomes a very interesting part, but still India has just been harnessed on only 2 to 3% of its hydroelectricity from that 20% also. So that is why it becomes very important. And right now we are right now in terms of renegotiating and modify this Indus Water Treaty, which it is again there in the news. And why it is there in the news, we will talk about. So what are the advantages of having this Indus Water Treaty? Because the local people energy demands through which they are producing the electricity are being done through through these rivers only. And it also creates a job like opportunities for the local residents who are a part of whether it is in Jammu and Kashmir or it is in the Pakistan also. So, and it becomes an indirect business opportunities for other small SMEs or MSMEs, which are again located on a very strategic location of this dam like situation. And again, for the irrigation and agricultural purposes, these rivers are a lifeline. And most of the people also often come to these places just to visit or for the recreational activities also. So it becomes a part of tourism activity also. And lot many people are also dealing a kind of a problem which we are right now having with the political scenario, because in Pakistan and India, lot many times we often have had so many wars since 1947. We had a war like 1947, then in 65 we had war, then in 71 we had war, then we had Kargil war in 1999. Although it's not considered to be a war, but these are some of the wars. But despite being, when this treaty was signed in 1960, we did not had a single war on water with Pakistan on this issue. Okay, and if you search on internet, you will find that among all the in all across the world, this treaty is considered to be the world's most successful treaty, because despite being having a lot of problem, or the we are having a very hostile neighbor because of the terrorism activities, but still we haven't had a single war with Pakistan on the issue of water. Although right now the lot of acquisitions or people countries are alleging each other, but we need to understand that there might be different challenges, and we would not want to adjust, because the interesting part which I just mentioned, that 80% of its river which has a right to the Pakistan, and only 20% part right of this rivers it's been given to India. So still we are just able to harness 3% of its the electricity from that 20% also. So it becomes a very interesting part. And in terms of disadvantages, whenever the dam like situation happens, it often leads to the displacement of people or the local indigenous people who are based near the dams, because as I mentioned, that it also leads to the habitat loss of humans, plants, or the animals which are based near. And a lot many times it affects the microclimate of the surrounding also. So what is this microclimate means that the climate, the atmosphere, lot many times, because when the dam is collecting lot of water, it gets evaporated also, and the moment it's getting evaporated, it is leading to the evaporation also. So, and it also deteriorating the soil of that region also, because lot many times when the water is stored at one place only, it will not add the soil of that area will not be that good. Okay, so it will decline the water quality, or the quantity would be there, but there would be no quality. So it is also affecting the flora and fauna of that region also. So everything has advantages or disadvantages. We cannot bend on good things or bad things, but we need to see what are the growing challenges, and accordingly we need to react towards it. So in this Indus Water Treaty also, the legal disputes are right now we are having. And in 2005, when there was a first call, when from India side, that we have called for a modification, because in Indus Water Treaty we also have a permanent commission where India and Pakistan having a permanent commissioner, which meets on a yearly basis to discuss that what are the issues which they can which they are having, and how they can resolve it for the each other for their mutual benefit. And similarly, from 2005 onwards, in 2016 it got a lot of momentum. And because when India tried to construct two dams, that is Kishan Ganga and the Rattle Dam in Jammu and Kashmir, for their own its hydroelectricity purposes, but due to that Pakistan raised some kind of a questions that you cannot construct, because it is mentioned in the treaty that it will affect the downstream country Pakistan, and it will affect our irrigation system also. But in the article 9, because there are 12 articles which are being highlighted, there is one preamble, there are 12 articles of Indus Water Treaty, and there is one more thing which is there for this Permanent Commission of Indus Water Treaty. So in the Article 9 also, there is one thing, there is one solution where, countries, if they have any kind of a problem, they can go for some kind of a modification into the treaties. Now, right now, because as we are right now in the 2025, and this treaty was signed in 1960, so a lot of things have changed in both the countries in terms of population, in terms of terrain, in terms of a lot of demand and supply also. And now we are talking about the climate changes also, which are taking place in the Indus basin. So it becomes very important for the countries also to renegotiate the treaty, because the treaty which was signed long back, after in 60 or 65 years back, it cannot have a same influence in 2025, right? So, and approximately, and 20 to 20 25 to 30% of that Indus river basin also, which is originating from the glacier from the Tibet, it is also melting due to the climate change. And it has also been estimated that by 2030, 50% of the river of the water will be deficit in nature. So it becomes very important. And similarly, when we are having a very hostile nature of, hostile neighbor in terms of Pakistan, and we had a war, kind of a attacks on India, like in Uri attack we had in 2016, and similarly in Pulwama attack, which we faced in 2019. So, these kind of things, which the activities which are conducted by Pakistan. So these also made us think that, are we really going to help Pakistan with our water? Because most of the time, our Indian politician or the bureaucrats have also said in the media that, if Pakistan tries to continue these kind of activities on the Indian border, we will stop the Indus water from our country to them. So that is also, and even the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, also said that even the blood and the water cannot go hand in hand. So it becomes very important. It is a very emotional and the psychological thing which is connected with all the Indians. At the moment, that if this country is being hostile with us, why should we share our water with them? And that too, in this treaty, we are sharing 80% of our right of our water to them, and we're just using 20% of it. So it becomes very important for our countries to renegotiate and talk that whether we can go for the modification in this or not. You can also share your views in the last. And although, but it is becomes a very symbol of cooperation, and but right now, due to all these attacks, it stands at the crossroads of thing whether this will continue in the future or not. But due to the climate change, the legal disputes, or the historical mistrust which is there between both the countries, so it adds a limitation, that whether Pakistan is going to sit on the table and talk with the India or not, or whether they are going to prioritize the collective solution to it, or whether the political leadership in both the countries has been ready to negotiate on the Indus Water Treaty or not. Because most of the time, our stance of dealing with the lower riparian countries always been very generous, because India always believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that whole world is one family, right? So in that terms, also we have always tried to help our neighbors, because we believe that if our neighbors at our peace, then only India can remain at peace. So we have always tend to help people or help countries in terms of any kind of a problem. But since 2016 or 19, these small attacks, we are not even having a bilateral relation with Pakistan. So it becomes very important to discuss this issue also. And similarly, the mediator of this Indus Water Treaty also, the World Bank. So, and some representative from Pakistan also recently visited Jammu and Kashmir, because from Pakistan side also, they had some kind of issues with the modification of these two dams, which I've just mentioned, Kishan Ganga and Rattle Dam. So they mentioned that the Kishan Ganga and the Rattle dams are built in so much of large number that it can directly going to impact the Pakistan. So that is why the representative and the neutral party, the World Bank, some people came to visit the dam site of Ganga and Rattle Dam also, so that how much is the true story in person. And for your understanding, I just want to highlight that India has also constructed lot many dams, but in the past 20 years, the India constructed dams which are less than 15 megawatts. So you can consider that our things are not that we want to weaponize the water. Our things is that we need to make the needs fulfill of our people or of our states. So that is how we work. We are not although we are also upper riparian country to Bangladesh or even to the Pakistan also, but we haven't tried to weaponize the water or constructed a dam. We have also always constructed a dam which is on the run of the river, which is the run of a river is that when we try to construct a dam on the river, which is the river is flowing, we do not try to block the river. So that is also important. But whereas on the other side, we see the countries like upper riparian like China, they always construct a dam on the rivers which they try to stop the river. They don't construct the dams on the run of the river, which river is flowing. Like for example, on the Yarlang Sangpo, they try to close the doors of the dam whenever they are constructed, like the small dams, two gorges dam, three gorges dam. And right now it's very funny that they have even proposed to construct a world largest dam on the Yarlang Sangpo, and which is right now in the news, which we will talk in the subsequent slide. So this is all about the Indus Water Treaty and how things are right now with the Pakistan. But I'm sure that we'll able to come up with some kind of a solution with this Indus Water Treaty. Although we need to confront them, because these activities, because terrorist attacks and other sort of a generosity from India would not be expected, right? Things needs to be settled down from China, from Pakistan first, and then only we can think of doing or renegotiating this treaty on the same hand. So similarly, on the Ganga Water Sharing Treaty also, this was signed in again 1996 between Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at that point of a time, and then not Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, but Sheikh Hasina Wajid. And at that point of a time, our Prime Minister was H.D. Dev Gowda. Okay, and both of the people, they signed this treaty. And Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is the father of Bangladesh, he was a big proponent of this, who has witnessed this treaty. And in 1972 also we signed Indo-Bangladesh Friendship Treaty, and under that only we have signed a joint river commission with Bangladesh, because in what we have seen that East and West Pakistan was divided when we had a war with Pakistan. So that point of a time only, the father of Bangladesh was to highlighting all of the issues, and he always wanted to have a very good and cordial relations with the Bangladesh, and due to which we have signed Indo-Bangladesh Friendship of Treaty. And similarly with that, we have signed a joint river commission with Bangladesh in 1972, so that our needs are also catered with the common interest, and which is also becomes a very vital role in water resources, irrigation, floods, and the cyclone control, because we also tend to share lot many data with Bangladesh, because we are an upper riparian country. So we always never ever try to manipulate or try to things which China does to us. Okay, and and there is one. Okay, so I'll also tell, this is a term which I've used here, the Farakka barrage. So there is a difference between dam and a barrage. Okay, so dam, I have just mentioned that it is also used with the purpose of storing the water, or it is also used in terms of creating electricity, right? But in barrage is something which is not considered to be a which is not considered to storage water or harnessing the electricity. So it is basically a way through which we control the flow of the river. Okay, so, and it is very much cost effective. Okay, it is not very much costly, whereas dams, generating dam and creating a dam, constructing a dam, it's very a costly process. But in terms of barrage, It's not very much costly, but it's very easy to maintain also. So we are having a Farakka barrage, which is also a point of contestation with India and Bangladesh. But we have also, which is roughly 10 kilometers far away from Bangladesh. So we have also signed a treaty with this Farakka barrage in 1977 also, and after that only we came to this the Ganga water sharing treaty. So what happens is that the when the Ganga river is coming from the upper region to, and when it is going towards the West Bengal. So in the West Bengal, this Farakka barrage is located. So what this barrage is doing, it is taking a flow of two rivers. Okay, one is the Hooghly River, which is going towards the lower side of West Bengal, which is very much important for the Calcutta port for the navigational purpose, and on the right side it is going towards the Bangladesh in the form of Padma River. Okay, so now this Padma River is basically becomes a very important in terms of irrigation and for the agriculture purpose also. So this Farakka barrage is basically a point of contestation between India and Bangladesh. Okay, so one part of a river from this Farakka barrage of Ganga River, it is segregating one river, which is terminating as creating one river in a form of Hooghly River, which is going towards downside of West Bengal, Kolkata, okay, port, and the right river, which is generating in a form of Padma River. Again, it is a Ganga River only, but it is going towards the Bangladesh. So now the Bangladesh river, Bangladesh people have also the same kind of issue with the India, where they have mentioned that you cannot use most of its water. If it is international water, it should be shared. But in this 1996 Ganges Water Treaty, it was decided that I've also highlighted here, like if the Ganges, if the Padma River have a 70,000 cusics of water have cusics or less water which is there. So in that point of a time, India and Bangladesh will share the 50% of the rivers share, like of a Padma River. Okay, but if the river has 70 to 75 of cusic of water available, okay, so in that case 35%, 35,000 of cusic of river which it will be used by Bangladesh, and 40 say 40 to 45% of the cusics of water will be used by India. So in that, so in this kind of a framework, this was decided in Ganges Water Treaty. Although we have signed this for the 30 years with Bangladesh, and next year in 2026 on the 12th of December, this treaty will going to expire. But it is again on the mutual decision whether we want to renew it or not, because the current situation in Bangladesh is very hostile. What we seen recently that Pakistan's Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has to fled her country, right? And right now under the Mohammed Yunus, the whole country has been run. So I'm not sure whether how much they would be comfortable. But although they are very much dependent on country India, because we are an upper riparian country, so that will be have to see next year in December that whether we continue this treaty or not, or whether we extend it or not, because it was decided that on a mutual basis we will see it. Similarly, on the Nepal also, when we have signed the Kosi River, which is again on the agreement of 10 years. So in every 10 years we try to renew the river. So moving ahead. So okay, now we are coming towards the China, as we do not have any kind of a water treaty or agreement with China, but we have also signed a MOUs, that is Memorandum of Understanding. So we need to understand that in the law terminology there are customary laws that are customary laws, like in terms of, like I have also mentioned, the conventions or the water laws, like the international water law. Right now we are having 1992 of convention on the protection and use of transboundary water resources and international lakes, and very important one is the 1997 of water international water course agreement, which is also considered to be a customary law, which is there in the framework. Then the second one is the treaty norms. Okay, the treaty norms are which we have again the which we have signed it with Bangladesh, which we have signed it with Nepal. Okay, so which so these are some of the treaties or the agreements which we do with the countries. So these are also considered as a treaty norm. Then the third ones are the soft laws. So these are also considered to be a binding or non-binding. So in that soft laws, we are signing it with the China. That is considered under MOUs. So these are soft laws. So they can be binding or they can be non-binding also. So even in the sustainable development goals also, in 6.5.2, it also talks about the transboundary river issues which are available or present. So let's talk about the China's present thing, because China is a huge, humongous country and it shares the 17 transboundary basins with its 14 neighboring states. Okay, and similarly, India shares 8 transboundary basin with its 6 neighboring states. And similarly, both India and China shares 3 transboundary rivers. That is, first one is the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna, which has been shared by India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Nepal. Okay, it's very important one. The second one is between Indus River Basin, which is again I've mentioned about India and Pakistan. Third one is Irrawaddy, which is again going in the Myanmar, India, and it flows through that. So in India and China also, it was signed in 2002, and similarly because it is not for a permanent time, so over a period of time it is renewed in 2008, then it was renewed in 2013, then it was renewed in 2018. And similarly on the Satluj River, which is again a tributary of Indus River, which was signed in 2004, because Satluj River is flowing in the northern part of India, that is Uttarakhand, Himachal, and then it is going towards sides of it is connecting the Indus water in the Pakistan. Okay, so similarly for the Indus River also, it was signed in MOU was signed in 2004, and similarly it was renewed in 2010 and 15. But the bone of contestation is right now is that both the treaties are expired right now. These MOUs are expired in 2022. And as you might notice that, since 2020, we are having a lot of issues with China. And in 2020, we had a Galwan Valley confront with China, where China tried to annex our land. Okay, they came into our territory, and we had a long-standing border standoff with China. Okay, and before that also in 2017, when the Doklam issue happened, so these MOUs were already taken. At that point of a time they were existing. But the problem comes when the political connection or the political leaderships are not happy with each other. So then they try to downtrade each others in terms of not sharing the data. So similarly with India also, when Doklam issue happened with India. Okay, so they stopped sharing the data with India. Okay, China stopped sharing the data on the Yarlang Sampo, because there are lot many hydroelectric power station which are based on Brahmaputra in the Indian region also, and then Tibet also. There are 3 to 4 major hydroelectricity stations which are based in Tibet. So from which in the monsoon and in the non-monsoon region also, every day real-time data is taken, so that it should be noticed and monitored that the flow of river which is coming from upwards towards, which is going towards downward, it should be noticed, so that in case of flood like situation, countries can be notified, right? So that they can be get aware of the situation, whether the flood like situation is coming, or they can evacuate the people. And this is just not a kind of a hawks which is we are just talking. It has actually happened also in Assam. We have faced flood like situation many times. So, and later on when the reports came, we got to know that China opened the gates of the floods. Okay, and we were not aware of the situation, and due to which we had a loss of a lot of animals and the shelters and the livelihood of the people. Similarly, but MOUs are expired in 2023, but China is sharing the data on Satluj River. So this becomes very funny, on China's side, that we are paying a lot of money, millions of dollars to China just to extract the water data from them. Okay, but still there is no solution to it, and it's very unlikely and would be very impractical in nature that China would come on table and they would talk that, let's sign the water treaty or agreement and let's abide the international water law convention, which is there in the Helsinki of 1966 also, or in the 1992 or 1997 also. So it becomes very difficult. And similarly, it's just not about all these MOUs. Even we are having the expert level mechanism also, which is there since 2006, where both the countries leaders or the military leaders or the from the ministry level, they come together and they try to resolve most of the major disputes which are between the both countries. And this 2006 expert level mechanism came when the Parichu River, it's a river where it witnessed a glacial lake outburst flood, Gulf, which is also we are witnessing these days due to the climate change activities also. And similarly, India and China both have also signed the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. But these are just about signing the things are not actually happening on the table practically. So this is the India China map, where I can show you the how the dam like situation is happening. So this is currently the dam which is based in China, Tibet. Okay, this is Zangmu Dam, which has a capacity of generating 510 megawatt of electricity. Okay, and this is going towards, so this is dams, red colored marked. Okay, these are non-operational, this is operational dam. Okay, it's been highlighted also. And these are also under construction. So because China works on 5-year plan, so this was constructed in the 11th 5-year plan, which started in 2011 and it was ended in 2015. And in that point of a time only, China thought of constructing series of dam. You can see these boxes are the series of dam on the Yarlang Sangpo, just to divert the water. Because in China, the problem is not about the quantity of water. The problem is all about the quality of water. And let's suppose if they want to, filter this water, so it will take billions of dollars. So better to not waste the money. Why not to divert the water or create a dam-like situation where they can weaponize that also for their long-term vision, because their population is also huge and humongous like India only. Okay, and their population, their urbanization, their industrialization is totally dependent. And the funny part is most of the the river or the which is there in China, which is coming from Tibet, it's there in southern part. And most of the population with China having right now, it is on the northern part. So this becomes very necessity and the need of China that they want to transport this water from the lower part to the upper part. That is why they started the South-North Water Treaty project, where they want to transfer the water from southern part to the northern part. So, you can see the series of dam they have constructed. Now, this is a great U bend, and this is the last point, which is considered as a very important point, which is right now in the news also. That is why I highlighted here Medong Dam, or which is also considered in Tibet as a Medok County. Because in China, there are no states. They call states in the form of province. And like in India, we are having states. Between the states, we are having the districts. Okay, so they are having the counties. Okay, they call it as a county. So this is basically a Tibet's one of a county, that is Medong. Okay, which is very much near to the Indian border. So the moment this U term comes, this is a Medong county, and it gets entered into the Arunachal Pradesh, and then it goes towards the Assam and the Bangladesh. But right now it is in the news because China right now proposed that into their 14th 5-year plan, which started in 2021 and it will end in 2025. So they in December 2024, they decided that they will construct the world largest dam on this river here at a Medong hydroelectricity station. So this is again will be called as a Medong Dam, and this will create electricity 3x from this 3 Gorges Dam. So this is basically 3 Gorges Dam, which is creating 510 megawatt. But into 3, if you calculate, this Medong dam will calculate. But there is also very interesting part that this whole Tibetan region is based on a seismic zone where lot many earthquakes or natural calamities can happen. So we all often talk about that, we should not disturb the nature. If we will disturb the nature, nature will disturb us. Okay. So on 3rd of December, on 3rd of January 2025, MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, they stated statement and launched a very strong protest against China that you cannot construct a dam over here. First of all, they did not consulted the lower riparian country. And in the beginning, I mentioned that what are the duties of upper riparian country? They should not harm the lower riparian country. And in order to do any kind of activity in the upper riparian region, they need to consult the lower riparian country. So there were no notification which was given to the lower riparian country in the form of India or Bangladesh. Then again, lot many activities which are taking place in the upper riparian country in terms of dams or any kind of infrastructure activity. So no country it's been given a kind of a surety that what sort of things are happening on the upper riparian country. So it becomes a very kind of a unilateral decision where China is taking it on its own, right? So and on 6th of January, you might have heard the news that in Tibet we had a long form of earthquake happened with a Richter of 6.8 to 7.1, where I think more than 150 people got killed. So it's very interesting that from this part to that site where that earthquake happened, it's just 120 kilometers only. So it is again a very dangerous thing if China plans to do it. Although they are just said this, but it would be very difficult because in the similar in the 11th 5-year plan also, like these dams which are under construction, they were also failed because the terrain and the location of this place of this location, it's very difficult and it cannot sustain large amount of weight on that location. So it would be very challenging, and China is ready to spend $137 billion just to construct a dam over here. So you can well imagine how much it would be very much dangerous for our own national security also, and it would be the world largest dam in the whole world. And currently this dam is the Three Gorges Dam is currently the largest dam in the world. So accordingly, we need to see how much China's dam project will also affect India's national security, how much it is going to impact the lower riparian country, specifically northeastern state of Assam, because most of the time we had seen a flood-like situation in Assam. Okay, and in similarly on the northern part also, where we share that river which we just mentioned, which is a part of Indus river. In that also, in Uttarakhand also, we had a large number of flood-like situation. And just not about floods. In most of the time, if the China tries to block the water, so we can also face a drought-like situation. Okay, and with the climate change coming up, a lot of heat stress in the country, it's been rising. And the last year we have witnessed like more than 50 degrees of temperature was there in India. It was witnessed. So things would be very, in the coming time, it would be very chaotic, right? So we need to have some kind of a solution. We need to have someone accountable for these kind of activities which are taking place. So what is the India stand right now? Okay, we have had enough discussion that how India is signing treaty with Pakistan, Bangladesh, or even in case with Bhutan also, but it is just in case of creating hydroelectricity projects with them. But what is India's stand in it? Because India's stand it's been very genuine, because I have just mentioned that India believes in sharing and helping people, right? Their approach is very much liberal. So India's stance would be always that, we want to share equitable water. We want to have a regional cooperation so that our neighbors should remain at a peace. So that is why we will also be at peace only. And we believe in sustainable development. And similarly, in 2030, when we are going to submit our Sustainable Development Goals report, in that also we are mostly targeting that as sustainable goal number 13, especially which is targeting on the water security. We would be very happy that most of our goals should be achieved. Okay, so as a riparian state in South Asia, so India seeks to balance its national interest and also stabilizing the regional stability with the other states which are there, and we should also have a very good neighborly relations with our countries. So how India is going to counter this, or how India is countering it? Because it
So,
becomes yes, yes,
so
yes,
before we
Jyoti.
move forward, should we take a 5 minutes break?
Yeah, yeah, please. All right, that's all right. So, do you want to take a break?
Sir, if you are comfortable, we may continue the session. Otherwise, we can take a 5 minute
I
break.
think I'm just left with the let me just say, I think 3 or 4 slides only. It's just end of
Okay, sir.
my
All
presentation.
right, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I hope people are with me. I am not able to see people. Oh my God, 82 people are seeing it. Great, great. So we can have a good discussion. All right. Thanks a lot. So, so let us talk about that. How India is countering this kind of diplomacy with the other countries. So India's, as I've just mentioned, how India's approach is, because we believe in collaboration, we believe in sustainable practices, and how India is emerging as a global leader in the South Asia also. So we believe in a lot of activities which are very much beneficial for our own country also and for our other neighboring states also. So India is strengthening bilateral and multilateral mechanism also, in terms of they are signing a lot many bilateral agreements in terms of water treaties or agreements, which we have just seen in the case of Nepal, Bangladesh, or even a good example of Pakistan also. And we are also providing technical and financial cooperation. We also tend to give and help financial aid to the small countries. Like for example, in South Asia, recently we have helped Sri Lanka also. We have held Maldives also. Okay, so they also have a lot of problem related to the water. So we are always ready to help. And in terms of technical area also, with the AI coming into the power, in that also we are providing technical solutions to them, so that they are also able to find out the quick solutions to their problems. And thirdly, we are also focusing on the regional cooperation, that how we can also have a dialogue between the countries. Like for example, India is a part of BIMSTEC, SARC. Okay, how we can connect all the regional forums together, so that we can discuss the water issues or the transboundary river issues which are there in. And we are also creating trust building measures, which is very important part if we want to counter, and it is also part of a soft power diplomacy, that how much we are able to create or make our voice reach to the small countries. It's very important. Okay, and the third one and the last one is the environmental and the climate focus, because as the climate change is coming into the discussion, COP 29, just the COP 27 and 29 just now on the door, and we have just discussed that how much loss and damage we want to collect. Okay, so in that also, South Asia, India is emerging as a global leader, that how much we can focus on the environmental use, how we can use more and more sustainable things, and how this idea of climate focus can be more and discussed with the all the small countries. Okay, and lastly, that how geopolitical approach can be applied, because it is very much connected with the every country's national interest, and national interest is always connected with the geopolitical approach. Okay, if we are not able to having a geopolitical approach, any country can take a leverage of the small countries. In case of China, what we see. Okay, and in South Asia also, even in the Southeast Asia also, where all the small countries like Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, all these, Thailand, so all of these countries are also again a big nexus of China's hegemony in this part. So these are the few of the key challenges, I think, which India faces right now: the geopolitical tension with Pakistan, with the China, with the climate change which is coming, and the mistrust over infrastructure projects on the upper riparian region, and we do not have any kind of a comprehensive agreements with the country called China. So it becomes very difficult, and we are also even having a limited data sharing and the transparency with the upper riparian countries, so it becomes very difficult. So these are few of the key challenges which are there, and which we as a country need to focus more and more. I think most of the problems are very much known to each and everyone, but we need to focus more and more the challenges, how we can get rid of the challenges. Like in the geopolitical tension, most of the geopolitical analysts are talking about how we can get rid of these challenges, how we can come and come with some kind of a plan where we can tell China that this is how we are going wrong, and this is where we can get things turn the table, okay, to make them sit on the table and we can talk. So a lot of these kind of key challenges which are there. So now, like in terms of India also, like it's very important to talk about water security, because we just mentioned about the scenario which is there in India and it's with its neighboring state. But in India also, it's very important that we should also know what is the current state of India's water security. So currently, India is a very water stressed country. Okay. And in terms of the per capita of water availability, right now we are having the 1500 cubic meters per person of water which is available in the country India, and it is very much projected that it will further decrease, okay, because the quality of water, it's been decreasing day by day. And in the terms of water studies, we always considered any country as a water scare when it comes down to the 1000 cubic meters per person. So right now we are at a 1500 cubic meters per person. The moment we are coming down to a 1000 or less than 1000, so it will be considered as a water scarcity. Okay, so at these level, we need to maintain, we need to have certain kind of initiatives or the measures which will help the country India also. And India is also consuming 740 billion cubic of meters annually for the agriculture. That is the 80%, because India's agriculture depended on most of its on the water, okay, and followed by its industrial use or the domestic use. So, and India is also one of the largest extractor of groundwater, because in the states like Punjab and Haryana, where most of the agriculture activities are taking place, so the water table, it's been over extracted. We are not utilizing it. We have over extracted that water, fresh water which is coming, okay, and we're not able to recharge the groundwater, the recharge the aquifers of the water. So we need to stop that thing, because lot many times when the urbanization and the industrialization is taking place, we are concreting the surface level of the soil. And the moment we will concrete that water, the water, when the rainfall is happening, the rainwater is not going in the soil. And the moment it is not going, it's not able to recharge. So it is becoming very uneasy to recharge the aquifers also. And with the climate change coming, it becomes very difficult. And according to the Niti Aayog report also, they have mentioned that 70% of our Indian water supply is also contaminated, because lot many times as Ganga river is there, it's also, we have initiated crores of money in cleaning that water, but still due to the religion and other activities, or large number of industrial waste which gets into the river Ganga, or even in the Brahmaputra, due to the mining activities which is taking place in the Tibet. So it becomes very difficult, and most of the water which is coming to India, it's been contaminated with arsenic content, or the pH and the TDS value of that water, it's not very good. Okay, so in that also. So now, what are the key initiatives which India has taken up to improve the water security? So these are the very famous one which you might be aware of it, and that is the Jal Jeevan Mission, which is just to connect the pipe water connectivity with the rural household. Then, just for the cleaning of River Ganga, we have initiated this Namai Ganga mission, which was to regenerate the Ganges River and its tributaries also. And we just mentioned about that we are overutilizing the water which is there in the ground in the northern part. So just to regenerate or use the sustainable management of that water, we initiated this Atal Bhuj Yojana, which is again it is right now in place, and it is adding a real value to it. And similarly, interlinking of rivers. So although these kind of interlinking of rivers in India, it's been failed, not very much successful, but still our main thinking would be that in the countries within the country also, where upper riparian state or lower riparian state, their rivers needs to be connected, because we cannot control rivers, right? We cannot have a create a boundary between the rivers, so it needs to be connected, so that every state fulfill their needs of hydroelectricity, livelihood, or even with the agriculture, or with they can cater their needs. Okay, so there should not be any kind of a water deficient region in the country, within the country itself. So this project is also there. So these are the some of the opportunities of collaboration which India can also do it. Okay, like in terms of water management projects, or they can share the real time data also. Although it becomes very uneasy or difficult, impractical task, but with the help of AI, early warning systems can also be generated, that can also be helping. Even in the recent Nepal flood also, early warning system which has been generated by ICIMOD. Okay, it was very much helpful, and they got a big alarm when the flood was about to come, and they evacuated the whole village in Nepal. So I think these are some of the technical aspects where India can also come up with. Okay, and we can also align with our sustainable goal of 6 and 13, which is the water and the climate, where the jointly collaboration of these two SDG goals can be done in India. And it would be very interesting to see how much we have achieved, the indicators of SDGs in 2030. And we can also create some kind of a dialogues. Okay, so because dialogue creates, they connect people, emotionally. I feel that people are come up with some kind of a very good ideas, where they can also like in the nature based solution also. I've seen and attended so many dialogues where people have were very much innovative in their ideas, and these dialogues are actually catering and helping other states or other organizations also, that how they can utilize the water in a very natural way, and it should not be very much cost effective. So, and these are some of the things which are very much important. And the case studies like Indus water treaty, and with the Nepal, or with the Bangladesh, these are some of the things which can also give an example, or lessons can be learned by other states also, or the other countries also. And although there are very successful treaties which are there, like for example in the Nile also, we often take, because these are some of the treaties which can also give us some kind of a lesson, and we can learn from them also. So, in the last conclusion, I think whatever we have discussed, India's transboundary water diplomacy, it's very important, because we can create a stability and the peace in our neighbors also, but within the country itself also. And with all these collaborative frameworks, and with the infrastructure development and addressing to the climatic changes, I think we can always create a equitable water distribution between our neighboring state and within the state also. And these are some of the few readings which you can also find it on the internet, which recently have written, and in they have specifically highlighting the concern of how why China is weaponizing the water, what is its concern. And this paper, third one, is talking about what is the how the border issues and the water connections are interconnected. Okay, and it's been published by Springer, and I have taken up interviews of experts from both India and China, and I have done a content analysis approach, applied the content analysis approach in this, and it's a very interesting paper. You will find so many new nuances which are we have tried to highlight, like in terms of water war or water tension. Okay, so you'll get some idea. So have a look, or you can also search my name with Neeraj Singh Manhas with water. You can search it on online Google. You'll find all of these papers online, and I would be happy to take any questions now. I think I've